Hi, this is Linda Smith of Top Producing Web. I have Jerry Galkey, who's going to share with us his thoughts about out to be an exciting week. Jerry, it seems like that was a game-changer report we received. Corn, the acreage came in lower, and at the same time, USDA increased the usage. Back a couple months ago, you talked about how we might have higher ethanol and feed usage based on the quality of the crop this year. Looks like USDA did come within your range at 288 million bucks, whereas you were looking at 250 to 300.
Well, I think, Linda, that's exactly, I think that's exactly what happened. We won't know for sure until next Friday when they extrapolate this stuff into supply and demand. But there was a lot of talk by farmers that, when are they going to recognize that test weight wasn't there, and so thus the bushels weren't there. And I don't think that had anything significant to do with it, because unless you grow your own feed, when you go to town in the elevator and you buy 1,000 bushels of corn, you buy 56,000 pounds. You don't buy 56,000 bushel baskets full and say, whoa, I only got, 1,000 bushel baskets full and you only got 950. It's purchased by weight. So similar to when we were combining corn last fall, we, I would say, wow, this is the corn is wet and this and that. And I know the test weight was 48 to 50 pounds and not 60 or 56. But yet when I got done with my yield monitor, I had good bushels. And I said, well, it wasn't so bad after all. And that's what we found out, that the yield was there. And then you wondered what kind of yield you would get if you had good test weight. But so what I think happened was, and we surmised, in Galkey Group, that the feed efficiency, or feed and crush, I guess that would be feeding efficiency, and then the amount of ethanol you get out of a bushel of corn to crush, may have been somewhat less than what everybody thought. And we figured that we wouldn't really see this until the June 30th stocks report, because it takes that long for all that crappy stuff that we grew to work its way through the system. And what I found interesting was I had some corn that was really bad, the low test weight. Yes, they bought it, they discounted it, but somebody used it and fed it. And we got nothing but bad reports from farmers and clients that feeders of livestock saying, boy, I've got to go back after more corn. I'm feeding more bushels, more 56-pound bushels than I did last year to get the same rate of gain. I don't know about ethanol, but I'm surmising there might be something in there. So, if you look at where the bad corn was and how it was fed and so forth, we could come up with that 288 million bushels more. What's fun is that the trade and the guys on the fourth floor of the Board of Trade, where we're residing now, I don't know if they're as smart as sometimes we are, but they're going to take these numbers and extrapolate it through, and they're going to say, wow, we're feeding a lot more corn than we thought. And even though there's DDGs, what's up out there? Are the numbers bigger and so forth? And we're seeing, cattle and hogs down for whatever reason. But there are guys out there that don't quite get it, perhaps, and that are running numbers that are analysts. So you got to be careful of who you're talking to. But likely we will not see the same thing again next year, because we'll have good quality corn. So just the opposite may happen. So I think that's there, and I would say we'll see more, because at the September 30th, next quarterly report, which is stocked as of September 1st, they may also come in at, say, maybe 25 to 50 million bushels, or if it's 70 million bushels, that's at 500,000 acres of more usage than we expected and less carry-in. So a lot of bullish things from that standpoint, and then, of course, the acres were down. That shocked a lot of people, and the important thing about the acres is that the government went out and asked farmers, what do you intend to do? And they asked them around the 1st of June through the 15th of June. Now, if you'd have asked me in, say, Illinois, and I still had southern Illinois or wherever, I might still have corn left to plant, my intentions were to plant all that corn and plant all those beans. North and South Dakota and Minnesota, where it was wet, my intentions were back then to plant everything. And I probably wasn't going to tell the government that I'm going to plant a lot of stuff. Well, then here came the rain. So what you got on June 30th this week, probably in my mind, is the highest number you're going to see for corn. I'm not sure about soybeans. I think some corn went to beans anyway. But there was very, very difficult times in South Dakota and North Dakota getting the crop planted. And so I've lowered my planted acres about 500,000 acres less than what the government has. And I noticed Informa this morning came out with their yield number at 163.5. It's not 165 or 168 or 170 like some guys are saying with this good-looking corn. They're saying there are enough problems out there that we don't want to go there yet. So that will tell us that likely And again, Informer likes to mimic what USDA does. They have people that have worked for USDA. They know how they make estimates. They're not trying to screw the market over. They're trying to give us the best guess of what USDA is going to say, not what they think or what I think is going to happen ultimately by December 12th or whenever when we end this whole thing. So we would suspect and told the market that July 30th is not going to show a big number for this crop. It's going to show about average. And then we've got to prove through actual yield count and corn crops and stuff what we actually got. So we got a long summer ahead of it. The bottom line of that USDA corn thing was that now we have to get a good crop. This set of 400 things, it had a lot of people leaning the wrong way, and I think I mentioned to you guys in the report that we were 30% hedged after being over 100% hedged, and that was wrong. But we had calls against it because I just did not like selling $3 and some cent corn. But had it gone the other way, and we had more stocks and more acres, we'd probably be looking at a target of 260 to 280 next fall. That's gone out the window. So good news in the corn area.
In soybeans, they also lowered stocks for the old crop, and although acres were not good.
Well, yeah, it's and you can tell by corn, has jumped 40 cents in the last 2 days, plus whatever happens today, and beans have just kind of held in there. Part of the problem here is that speculators and guys out there, they thought they knew what the crop was in corn, didn't know what beans were because we got weather coming, so they were buying the beans, selling the corn, and now they get their head ripped off on that short side of that spread. There's nobody hardly in that floor of the Board of Trade that has any sense of direction anymore. They all spread one against the other, trying to make a penny without risking 2 cents. And so they got out of that one leg of that spread, so that meant they had to now sell the November and buy the Dece, and so you've got some pressure on November. The interesting thing about the stocks report is that it was lowered again. So one of two things happened, either the government overestimated the crop last year, and we had a half a bushel or a bushel per acre less than we thought, and they aren't going to find that or conclude that until we're harvesting next year's crop. So probably by next September 30th, when we get that final stocks and all positions report, we'll find out that they're going to say, well, it looks like our crop wasn't as big. Well, if the crop last year wasn't as big as we thought it was, or we're using more than we thought we were, then that kind of says that how do you expect, if we get last year's yield, whatever it is, it could very well be a half a bushel less. Informer's got 43.5, I think, in their yield. That's a good yield in beans. But that carryover then does not 450 or 500 million or 700 million bushels that they were talking 6 or 8 months ago. It's more like that 300 or less. So, and again, 1 bushel per acre is going to be 70 million bushels less. You drop the yield a bushel per acre less for whatever reason, less acres, rounded out acres, prevent planting or whatever that we don't know about, and you're down there to where your carryover is just like it was this year, and that takes away any thoughts of probably a 7 or certainly a low 8 number in the beans, and then we got to send a signal to South America to say, don't plant less beans, regardless of our currency relationship. We need to do just as much you did last year. And lo and behold, we got rid of their billion bushel extra bean crop this year, and it disappeared in the world somewhere when we thought we were going to be buried under it. So not super good news in beans, but August weather is going to tell the story there, and it could be explosive if we get any kind of hot weather in August and somebody prints a 40 bushel an acre crop. Then you could run out of beans before harvest of next year, and then you got that one on a roll as well. So. We're in the catbird seat, I think, in agriculture, and unfortunately, this may not be good for livestock guys, but here again, that's what risk management's all about. Once again, the livestock feeder and the cattle and hog feeder and poultry guy, I see poultry, egg sets and stuff are up. They're going to use more corn next year, so I think the usage for corn is going to naturally go higher next year.